Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Hello. How much is this delay going to cost me?
You'll get it at the end. It's a cat in the bag.
Okay.
And Nick is here.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. What's going on?
Not much.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Everything
Well,
has completely stopped.
Thanks, everybody. That was a lot of fun.
See you next week.
It's almost not worth mentioning updates anymore because it's so expected
Oh,
to have a
well,
problem.
Nick, did you get the updates for the Stream Deck? There were, it popped up and it says that there's an update. And after updating it, it says, okay, you're done. The Stream Deck doesn't see it. So I restarted Stream Deck and nothing. And I had to reboot in order to get Stream Deck back in operation. I'm saying, so why didn't they figure out that it needs to be done? So it's something to remember. But there were a lot of updates this week. Windows had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it's almost as though they
Huh?
were reacting to, they put an update out and and they put something else out. Didn't it also update? Usually when there's a major update, they'll
I
update,
read somewhere that there were 129 updates in this update.
Yeah. And then that springs another update to something else, not necessarily a Windows core.
It's like they're rewriting the operating system on the fly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is weird.
What?
So you mentioned updates, and I don't remember any updates. And I'm going to Windows updates, and it tells me that it last checked it on 31st of October 2020.
Look at your clock. Is it messed up?
My clock is fine.
Wow.
They've opened up a rift in the space-time continuum. Gal, take advantage of this. You need to go.
On?
I need some stock picks. And if you're getting this information, you need to update us. What's going to happen next week?
Let's see. I'm checking for updates now. Let's see what happened. That was weird.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't take a screenshot.
This is just like what was going on with what I was doing when it wouldn't update and it says, oh, it checked it today, but your update is still 1903, and you're up to date. What?
And now I have a bunch of updates. Today, 9/22. That was weird. I've never seen that happen.
No, that's Windows.
But just 4 updates, not a ton.
There were the article that I was reading on where was it? Forbes, somewhere said 129 updates were in it. I mean, you're getting cabs. What you're looking at, it's probably within or something. I don't know, but that's what they were saying. 129, and it took a long time on Kathy's computer because it's an old quad core, and it took a long time.
I got them in stages, though. I didn't get them all at once. Maybe because I
I
was
don't
on the
know.
machine a lot this
I don't
week.
know if it came in stages and just decided to start.
Oh, it might have just taken a long time to download them all before it started. So I just happened to get to the machine and check updates partway through that and installed what was already there. So, I don't know. Interesting. I did do something a little interesting this week with related to Wi-Fi. Anybody ever know? First of all, how many of us have more than one access point in the house, right?
I do, yeah.
I only have
Yeah.
one.
So I notice a big difference in my house, and this is something that's bothered me for a while, and I just never really addressed it, is that I have on my iPhone both of these networks. And if I'm downstairs, I'm on the network that's in the family room. And if I come upstairs to my bonus room, I have another access point, and I'm still connected to the Wi-Fi downstairs. And the signal is very weak. And I can always tell because I'll go to look at something and it takes forever for it to download. And I'm going to fix that. I'm going to work on it because I knew there were some things you could do. And so I said, just for fun, let me start looking at this. So I went out and looked, and sure enough, the solutions apparently are much better in the Android world because there are actually apps that will manage this for you, where there's nothing that I could find in the iPhone world that was highly rated that worked. But there's a really simple workaround that works with every Wi-Fi device, or every phone, I should say, Android and iPhone. And that is to give your access points the same SSID. Just give it different frequencies. You know about this, Scott. In corporate environment, that's what you do, right? The whole building is the same SSID. It's just different frequencies. So I took the time to go in, and my newest access point is not as easy to configure. They kind of dumbed it down a bit. It's a TP-Link C7, but the newer version is like version 7. My old one is version 2. And that one, it was less granular and actually being able to assign frequencies. But I went in and I changed the SSID to match, and both the 2.4 and 5 gig networks, and assigned different frequencies to both. It works. It seamlessly will go back and forth. It'll pick the strongest signal and connect. And it's just let the Wi-Fi standard do the work. Don't have an app that does it. Don't have some other intervening protocol do it. Just let Wi-Fi handle it, and it does it.
Well, it really depends on the quality of the router.
Yes.
I used to try that. Then I switched to separate network names because the access points, they wouldn't. If I add and it's part to do also with the phones, it wouldn't hand off when there would be let's say a 5-bar connection and I'm on a 2-bar connection. It wouldn't do that, only after it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's why eventually I threw out all of the access points, and I bought a Ubiquiti, and
it does it
with
different?
that, 0 issues.
So you didn't have to make any. Is it still the same SSIDs? Because it's all.
Well, right
it's a
now,
mesh, right?
they can be. I didn't need to. One access point covers my entire house.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Very, very efficiently. So
I could get it to work if I relocated a single one, like I put it in the middle. Like if I had it in my office, it would cover everything. But it just was easier for me when I was having to reset it all the time because of Spectrum, to have it down in the bonus room, well, not the family room, and just have a separate one where because the house is sort of wired, and I've got a direct connection to the bonus room where I can plug in the other. The other one is actually in access point mode. It's not in router mode.
Hmm. I don't know how, but it was doing the same thing with me, that it will not switch until it completely drops. And when you have one bar, it's really bad. And
Yeah, so
that's when the TV was wireless, and it would suddenly start really messing up. And you find, and it had an access point on the floor right there beside the TV. But sometimes
Yeah.
it'll get messed up and it will connect to the other one. And I would have to go and actually unplug the one it's connecting to from the wall, and then it will connect to the one right next to it. And
No, there was a much simpler way to do it, Amnon. You have to carry the television out into the parking
to
lot
the other side, yeah.
and bring it back in. You have to
Yeah.
let the signal
Yeah.
break and bring it back in. That's the
Right.
way you reset it.
Talking about television, God,
Yeah.
and cutting the cord. Yes, Friday night we sat down in front of the TV, and no, Kathy discovered the Roku channel.
yeah, that's
And-
rather new.
What?
I think it's rather new. It's like from the past year or something.
I don't know. I never looked there, because you go there and you click on Plex. It is loaded.
Yeah, it's new.
All kind of movies and sitcoms and TV shows. And so I was trying to find Computers 2K Now. And went through, Kathy was saying, I'm getting dizzy because I was going real fast through all of them to see. Because searching did not find it. But then I found out on the left, you can choose podcasts and streaming. Then I found it in there. But in the meantime, looking at everything, it is ridiculous, the number of programs and movies and all that. And we said, oh, well, wait a second. And Kathy was saying, why doesn't the Roku channel come to the top? And I said, I don't know. But up at the top, there was Pluto. And I said,
Oh yes, Pluto TV.
I said, did you use Pluto? She said, no. What is it? I said, I don't know. But it was at the top, right next to Netflix.
Yeah.
And you go into Pluto, and again, and all these things are free.
Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
All of these Pluto, Zumo, Roku channel, the Plex live TV, they're pretty much all the same channels.
Almost.
Now, I'm not saying that that's
Right.
not good, but they're pretty much all the same. Networks make like you'll notice on there, like you'll see like Fox Sports. You'll go, oh wow, it's Fox Sports. It's a stream only version of Fox Sports.
Right.
There's like 3 shows and they just loop 24/7. So that's good and all, but they're pretty much all the same. So if you have Pluto, it's pretty much the same as the Plex TV. It's pretty much the same as XUMO. It's pretty much the same as Vizio Free Watch, which is what I have. It's all the same. There's a lot of channels, but across all of the platforms, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, I did not look to see. You could see that the sitcoms. Now, I always wanted to have Hazel, and
I don't know what
Hazel,
that is.
I think, only appeared under Pluto. 'Cause
Gotcha.
I didn't see it under the Roku channel. I don't remember, or vice versa. But it's just, if you get a Roku and connect it to your TV, I don't think you can live long enough to see everything.
I really, really, really like the Roku. I think if you are if you are not trying to hack or tinker or
Right.
sideload, I think it's a no-brainer. If you're interested in loading Kodi and all this other stuff, Amazon Fire TV is the clear way to go. But if you're looking for in my experience, if you're looking for the simplest, easiest, plug it in and it just works TV watching experience, I think the Roku's a no-brainer.
So there's a new contender.
Oh,
No, I don't. No.
Come
Cancel the
on.
show.
No,
Amnon.
I was
Amnon, shut the
I
show
was
down.
with
Kick
you.
golf. Ban golf.
I was with you on this with the Fire TV having a lot of issues in running these Android applications, and I think we talked about it when you're buying a different Android box, you're losing the HD capabilities of the official channels, right? Netflix, Hulu. You don't get the DRM baked in, and so you cannot get HD content from them. And the cheapest solution would have been a Fire TV if you want an Android experience, right? Except Tivo Stream. Remember I talked about that one when they announced it?
Yeah.
So this week I went on and bought the Tivo Stream at Walmart, 40 something bucks. And I set it up to send it to my parents in Israel. And this is a full Android experience. This has Play Store. I mean, so you just go search Kodi, install Kodi, and it's installed. No side loading, nothing.
Well,
I
damn.
still side loaded a bunch of things just to see what's out there in addition to whatever is in the Play Store. Amnon, I gotta say, I hooked up the Plex to your live TV, the user that we have just to test it. It didn't work on all of the channels, so probably needs some tweaking. So it seems like the Plex part specifically is very similar to the Fire TV experience. But so for that, for Plex Live TV, still Roku rules. Every Roku in the house works better with the Plex than the Fire TV. So I get that. But for an overall experience and something to aggregate the different streaming services, they rock because they provide this seamless interface where you can search. So I search for something that exists on my Plex. It finds it. It gives you information. You search it using Google Assistant. So it's practically a request like you request from an Amazon Echo, right? So it's like a request you request from a Google Home or something like that. And it shows up the information. And then a button appears, watch it on, and then it says Plex. I hit it, it opened Plex, started playing. So your library with all of the other content. So let's say something like Pluto, right? If the content is there, it'll just show up as a result. You hit play, it goes there. You do not need to remember in which interface you have that content.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's snappy. It's not like the Fire TV, which feels very, very sluggish. So that combined, I gotta say, they botched the setup process. It wasn't. There were a few steps in the setup process which was you couldn't bypass them and made no sense to me. But overall, it was clean. It was simple for me because it's Android based. It even had Hebrew as a UI language, right? And I wanted to send it to Israel. Fantastic.
Nice.
So yeah, and if you're an Android user, then setting it up is even easier because at the beginning you need to set up Wi-Fi, you need to set up a lot of things. If you have an Android device, the phone can immediately identify the new device, configure it. You're doing everything from your phone. You don't need to punch in any passwords, long passwords, etc., on the TV. And another added bonus was any desk works on it. So I could remote control from a computer, use my keyboard
Really?
for URLs and stuff.
Wow, that's impressive.
So yeah, so it's I mean, I wish them well. I do not see how Tivo is going to rule the world suddenly, because they're they're like the BlackBerry, right? There's this very old technology we used to like, and nobody knows how it
Yeah,
fits today.
but Tivo is not new.
No, I mean, it's very old.
Yeah.
Tivo is like this old brand, right?
Right.
But isn't really relevant today.
Oh,
Right?
okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So and I wish that there would be more marketing. I wish there would be more push on this, but I doubt it. And I don't see it becoming the new big thing. But
It'll be
it's,
the new big thing for certain customers, which is, I mean,
I doubt it. I just doubt it. I don't know why. It's like still think people will probably continue buying the $80 Android boxes on this. I mean, I was surprised holding the box in Walmart, and I already read about this, right? Holding the box in Walmart and realizing that this is actually an Android box. So it's like they're underplaying the values that cord cutters are looking for. And that's a shame.
well, I mean, it's going to be the biggest thing for your parents now.
Yeah.
See,
It
so
will.
that's what I mean. So
Yeah, for them, yeah.
if
For me, yeah, I'll definitely recommend it. For others, I'll probably tell others, let me set it up for you and then start using it, right? But yeah.
Or just based on this conversation, I decided to go and do a search on what is the market share of TV OSs. And I couldn't find anything that was like real recent. 2018 was the latest market share, and that's irrelevant. It's too
Yeah.
old.
yeah,
But
in this.
I ran across an article, The Motley Fool, which is a stock company that does recommendations. It's been around a long time. Started by two young college guys back, 20 years ago. But the point is, they talked about how Google is taking steps now to try to consolidate the TV market. It happened back in March, and it's called the Android Compatibility Commitment. And anybody that uses an Android OS or a fork of most of the stuff is forked. They're saying there's the recommended version from Google, and then there's forked versions. If you're not using the forked versions, you can be basically kept out of the Play Store. You can't get access to the Google Store anymore. And so that's one of the things they're using to leverage Amazon Fire OS. As it says, its market share is almost nothing in televisions. There are devices out there, but it's not in TVs. They're saying that is considered a forked version. So they don't have access.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but the thing they said was that Roku, because it is not Android, is in a great market position now because they don't have to worry about Google clamping down on them. And they already have 40% of the market.
Oh, I think they rule at this point. I agree.
Yeah, but they're worldwide. There are a lot of Android TVs out there with all kinds of other weird forked versions, apparently in other countries that we don't see. And plus, not to mention the boxes too, all the different forked versions of the boxes. But that Roku is in a very good position. Although their market, let's say two other companies, Samsung and Xiaomi, are making big inroads there, but it's not in the U.S. market.
Right, but Samsung is their own thing. I don't know, but Xiaomi is probably does. Yeah, Xiaomi is probably Android though. They are heavy into Linux and Android. So
yeah, they say they both use Android. That's right. Xiaomi and Highway, I say the big smartphone.
Yeah, Highway.
And they're both.
But those are forks.
They're forked. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think the only one who's actually using Android is LG, like big brand.
But the way Google is going to enforce this is they had a big meeting with all the TV manufacturers and said, "Oh, by the way, if you want to be part of the store, this is what you have to do." So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But they're saying that Roku, it says they only command a small fraction of the global smart TV market. But for the record, that share is growing very fast. It said one out of every 3 smart TVs sold in the U.S. last year was a Roku.
Yeah.
And that they're in excellent position from the set-top box market.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, I
interesting.
think they are the ones who are pushed. I mean, right now, if you go and shop for a TV, all of the low-end price TVs, they're not necessarily low-end technology-wise, but all of the low-end price TV, right? Most of them, and what you see in the store, if they do not have a very, very established TV name brand like LG, Samsung, all of those are Roku's. Sharps, TCL, Element, yeah, all of those, sticker brands, they're all Roku. And so you're not getting a bad, Chinese written bad English experience when you boot up the TV. And that's a huge difference. And I'm guessing for the manufacturer, it wasn't that expensive because Roku probably gets some revenue from the application buying through them, right? So that's part of the selling point.
Not to mention the fact when they update the OS, the manufacturer probably has a relationship with Roku to provide updates, and those updates will start to have new content that Roku is being paid to add. So
exactly,
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I think we should start our own company, our own TV OS. We'll call it Nix TV. And it will be customized. Every customer gets their own custom load. Can you handle that, Nick?
Those TVs.
Yeah, I like this. It's a good idea.
What would you like? Give us, it'll take us about 3 months to program over. We'll get back to you.
But anyway, it's getting really easy to cut the cord and go with something like that. I mean, even if you just disconnect your TV service.
I have a great idea, Amnon. We can provide cord cutting parties, catering, right?
Catered.
We could have balloons and stuff, and it'll be up. You invite all your friends over for your cord cutting party. And we'll have, hors d'oeuvres, all TV themed hors d'oeuvres and stuff. That's a good idea.
Well,
we'll pull up with the van. We'll pull up with the cord cutting van and come out.
The one thing is that it's okay if you don't care about your local stations. A lot of people, I mean, there's 2 things that are going that are not that easy to do when it comes to it. One, people got used to DVRs, and just with the Roku, you have no way to record anything, but you don't need to because it's all on demand anyway. And the local stations, which you can connect an antenna, but then you need added hardware and added software in order to have a DVR. So, but it's like Gal was saying, it's not something that it's not that hard to do, but you have to know what you're doing. So I was telling Gal, I said, you need to get into the business of setting up servers for people to put it home so they can just bring it home and plug it in. But the longer I have that type of experience, the more I realize, well, it's not just cut and dry. There are more things to do.
Right now it's a do-it-yourself project.
Bro, no, it's not. And but with the Roku, yeah, it is. There's really not much to do there.
A lot less. I agree. Yeah.
And if you don't care about recording, then you can get an antenna and plug it into your TV, and all you'd have to do at that point is change sources back and forth. You have to go to the live TV, or you have to go to the Roku HDMI, which is not a big to do, but it's an added thing that you need to remember to go from one source to the other. But in general, yeah, it works. It works great. Now you were saying, Gal, you were saying that some things did not work, and we need to tweak my Plex. What
From
do
the
you mean?
Android
What do you mean did not work? Channels did not
live,
show up?
yeah,
Or-
yeah, got an error.
every now and then I do get an error that the recording could not be found. And you just do it again, click on that channel, and everything is fine.
No, recording. I went to record a TV. All of them worked. That wasn't a problem.
No, I'm talking about live. When you click on a channel like on WRL, and it comes up and says could not find a something record,
No,
and
no. It was
you click on
something
it again,
else.
you get out and click on it again, and it's all fine. I don't know, but
No, it's like something streaming couldn't start or something like that. It doesn't matter
interesting.
because it's not going to be used that way. But
Yeah. But it's nice. They can use it over there, and if they
Yeah.
needed to watch. Oh no, but they're not gonna have. They don't have a Plex.
No, they'll connect to my Plex.
Yeah. Oh well. Then I mean, if they wanted
That's
to,
the idea. That's why I'm sending it.
yeah. But it'll be interesting to sit in place in Israel and just watch the local channels that are here, live channels.
That's what I mean. That's why they're
Yeah.
not going to use that,
Yeah.
right? They're going to use
Yeah.
my Plex,
Yeah.
which has recorded stuff. Yeah.
I moved I had a busy weekend of moving all my servers.
What did you do?
I combined my 2 servers into one
Yeah.
and upgraded from Proxmox 4.4 to 6.2, I think, or 6.2 is the current version. What a process. Exporting VMs, re-importing them, expanding disk sizes. It was I've touched more Linux in the past 24 hours than I think I'd ever done in the past.
And everything is okay.
Yeah. Yep. Everything is up and running. I
Nice.
expanded my Linux partition to a terabyte. I haven't filled it. I'm trying to see if I'm actually filling it. I can't really tell, but I added a secondary data drive. I moved everything to a new host with 16 gigs of RAM. So now my VMs have enough resources. So
Very nice.
Yeah. Quite a process.
So which machine did you do away with?
Well, I really did away with 2. I had 2 Dell servers. One was running Open Media Vault, which I thought I was going to use, and I ended up not. So I ended up just getting rid of that. But that was also that's also where my Docker stuff was running. So I picked up a computer from a friend. It's a it is a i5 3470, which is a couple-year-old i5.
Mm-hmm.
My previous CPU was you'll like this, Amnon. It was an i7 760. The first gen i7 came out 2008.
With a 3 digits.
Yes, the i7 760. It was that was my previous VM host with 8 gigs of RAM. So I got this.
But it worked.
It did, but I was limited and I only had 8 gigs of RAM in it. So I got this. It's the i5 3470 with 16 gigs of RAM.
Mm-hmm.
Runs at 3.2 gigahertz. And then it's Proxmox, which is a VM host, like similar to VMware or I don't know if Kubernetes is considered the same thing, but it's a VM host that's running on a 256 gig SSD, and then I've got a 3 terabyte drive that I'm running my OSs on, my Windows 10 VM and my Ubuntu 2004 LTS. I did an in-place upgrade from Ubuntu 16.04 to the current long-term support for Ubuntu 20. And that worked flawlessly too, which I was really impressed. Literally nothing broke. My web server still works. My cup server still works. Plex still works.
Need to
And
give
then
you
I
a
installed
certificate.
Docker on it and got that all set up. So it's been a busy day.
But productive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now my next project is Gal, have you ever dealt with Grafana before?
A bit, not much. I understand what it does. I haven't found a reason to actually, build a dashboard. Yeah.
So I'm trying to build a little dashboard, like just a glance at dashboard on a Raspberry Pi. I installed Grafana, and it's
What's
just
the
way too.
sources?
Well, I want to use a couple different sources. I want to use a source for weather. I want to be able to pull some stuff from my Plex server, stats, and then I want to be able to pull an uptime from Uptime Robot. And Grafana had all that stuff built in. Or, excuse me, there was plugins for all that stuff in Grafana. It is so incredibly complicated, and you have to run all these different databases, and nothing runs on ARM. It's all Intel.
There's a different way.
Yeah, I need
all
something because
that.
this shit's ridiculous.
Home Assistant. Home Assistant out of the box will provide you a very easy way to create that dashboard. And if you even need additional Grafana, it can run Grafana as an add-on. So, and it comes built in with the database that collects the information from the sources you hook up. So all of that is already baked exactly for what you need.
These are plugins, add-ons. How do you search for
There's a lot of
plugins?
integrations. If you go to the integrations, you'll probably find all the weather integrations you're looking for.
Uptime. Oh, there is
I
already
do know
Uptime
it
Robot.
uses the Weather Underground.
So
I know it uses a lot of other things.
So let me ask you this then. How, and I did this in the past, but then I lost my install because I wiped my old Docker host and I didn't want to keep it. I have Docker Composer on my new Ubuntu LTS thing. That's where I'm running some other Docker stuff. Should I install Home Assistant through Docker?
No, you said you have a Raspberry Pi and you tried slapping Grafana on it?
Yeah. Well,
put Home Assistant as an OS, as a distribution on your Pi.
But now let me ask you this. Would it not make more sense to put Home Assistant on my Ubuntu server and then just use the Raspberry Pi as the web browser host?
You mentioned you have Proxmox?
Yes.
Run it as a VM in Proxmox.
They have an OS?
Yeah, they have an image.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not opposed to running it on the Pi, but it seems like it makes more sense to run it on the VM and then just
I agree.
Use the Pi as just the web interface.
Well, you'll probably find using the Pi for some sort of background service, and your interface will be through the Home Assistant VM.
Yeah,
I think that's what you'll end up doing. Home Assistant is highly recommended. It's more than just home automation. It's really about like Internet of Things automation, right? It's like about everything. Not only that, you can create, if you install it as a VM package, you'll be able to install Node-RED on it, and you will be able to create really, really easy automations without writing a piece of code, because you're going to use flowcharts, drag and drop flowcharts. So definitely, if you hadn't had a reason up until now to do that, this will probably give you the push you were looking for.
So then I'll ask this one more time. Why run it why run it as its own OS instead of on Ubuntu? Is there a reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Their OS, their package is a complete ecosystem. It runs Docker within, and you can add add-ons like Grafana, for example. By 2
Okay.
clicks, it hooks up to the system. You can run it as a standalone, their core component as a standalone Docker, but then you don't get auto update, you don't get snapshotting, you don't get a lot of the features around it. You'll only get the integration and the UI, which is awesome, but it means you need to manage the system. Their VM solution is pretty amazing.
Okay. Well, I'm downloading I just downloaded the Intel IMG, so throw it on my host here and see what happens.
Speaking
How
of
much
home
RAM?
automation,
How much RAM do you think I need to give this thing?
2
gigs enough?
Yeah, I think that would be more than enough.
Okay.
It runs on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
so
is a piece of garbage. I mean,
and the moment
Hey,
as with any VM, you can increase it if you need.
No offense, Amnon.
No, I think Amnon agrees actually.
Well, for that purpose.
But speaking of home automation, one interesting twist this week, Amnon sent me an article. So back in January, the Zigbee Alliance started a project called Project Connected Home over IP. It's a consortium of a lot of companies, including Google and Apple and Amazon, the 3 big players today in home automation. Well, the 3 big players that everyone loves to hate, right? Because they have a lot of issues, each in their own ecosystem. And the Zigbee Consortium, the Zigbee, Zigbee Alliance, they are an open source group, which the most known is their Zigbee protocol, which is connecting wirelessly different appliances around the home. If you've heard about Philips Hue, if you've heard about the IKEA smart lights and smart connections and smart automation, blinds and stuff, those are all Zigbee based, which is it's not IP. It's a different RF based solution, very low energy. It's better than Bluetooth because of range. Bluetooth is very limited in range.
But when you say it's not IP, do you mean that it's just operating at a lower layer and not at the network layer? It's operating at a MAC layer, and then has something that will take that and go through a router, so to speak, and for outside requests, to, put an IP header on it, and it comes back in its MAC.
No, what I mean is each of the nodes inside a Zigbee network, they do not have an IP identification. The Zigbee hub will be IP connected, and it will manage its connection.
That's what I mean. If it's at a lower level, it's at a lower layer. It's using a MAC, like a MAC address, instead of using an IP address.
I'm not sure it's actually a MAC address. It's probably above that, because the Zigbee layer, the Zigbee hub, the controller manages it in some way, and it is, if it was a Mac level communication, a Mac-based level communication, then then you wouldn't be able to encrypt stuff. You wouldn't be able to associate a specific device with a network without being exposed to another possible.
It's a proprietary network layer that they've added that does all that stuff.
Well, open source, but it's like a different.
Okay. No, I just wanted to understand at what level. I didn't know if Zigbee had gotten around that by using some other technology, or they just created their own, and then they
It's
have to
some
have
other technology.
a gateway that acts as an IP gateway to go out. Yeah. Okay.
You have experience with Z-Wave?
I do. It's
Yeah,
the same.
so it's the
Same.
same.
I have a Wink. I don't
Right.
use it
So
anymore, but
Zigbee is an open source solution to replace Z-Wave or to compete with Z-Wave.
no, I'm familiar with Zigbee to an extent.
So yeah, and now they're talking about let's create because this whole technology, right, is also called the Internet of Things. Even though these nodes, they're not part of the internet, they're connected to the internet through some sort of hub, but there's always a controller in the way. So there is a sort of limitation just in the architecture. That's one part. And the other part is, okay, so let's say my HomeKit from Apple supports a Zigbee controller. A Zigbee controller, it doesn't mean it'll be able to support anything that Zigbee controller exposes, if at least not on a separate node. And so now they're discussing this since January 2019. I might be the timeline a bit, and they're getting a list of I don't know, 100 and something companies talking down, discussing protocols, an open source protocol. So not a proprietary one, not Z-Wave, not HDMI, right? It's like an open source solution, which means eventually any manufacturer will be able to use that to create IP level communication with those nodes. So it's
And
an
to
interesting,
standardize.
standardized. It's an interesting approach. It'll be interesting to see the first products that come out of it. I think they're talking about finalizing the first version of the protocol close to 2021. I
Nice.
think the most interesting part of this project is the players, the companies that are sitting around the table and doing the work and trying to find a solution. Right now, anyone who's buying into a home automation system is really, really limiting themselves by what they can support and what they can't. And you need a set of hubs and then you need to find a way to interconnect them. The most interesting project in home automation today is Home Assistant, which is an open source project that really knows how to bind almost all of these systems together, but it's just a single project, and it does all of the heavy work of its community, does all of the heavy work of interconnecting these items, these disconnected pieces inside your home. And so this is definitely a step in a very good direction. It'll be.
It's interesting. You're going to see a total shakeout of the hub market with this. If you
I
can,
don't
I mean,
think
Zigbee,
it'll-
because it's a mesh, right? And Z-Wave is not.
Z-Wave is.
Well,
Z-Wave is a mess.
yeah, but it's limited. Zigbee, I always
Probably,
was intrigued by Zigbee, but I didn't realize that their transmission distances are a lot better than what I thought. And it's saying that's 10 to 100 meters depending on the power output. That's great.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
You can
I thought it
automate
was
your
a lot
neighbor.
less than that. I was thinking it was like near field communications. It was so limited that you'd have to sit at a desk for it to work. But I was familiar with a project that went on in one of the companies I worked for the smart desk, where they were going to use near field and Bluetooth you'd sit down at a desk and your fob, whatever it was you had on you, your RFID tag, whatever, you sit down and it would interpret, it would say, oh, this is user so-and-so, and it would customize a desktop, lighting, telephone, computer, everything to that person's environment, enabling all the different
cool.
devices that they had. It was great. It was way ahead of its time. It never caught on
Yeah.
because it's just the technology just wasn't ready. But a friend of mine was part of a lab that was working on this stuff, and it was just fascinating. So we're going to get there. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. It's cool.
Yes, some people definitely do that with Home Assistant today.
Yeah.
Projects out there are amazing. You remember? I don't know if any of you have seen Harry Potter, but in the movie Harry Potter,
Who?
the first one.
Who's Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, just this kid. So in the first movie, he goes to the Weasley family, right? The family that takes him in and they have a magic clock on the wall, and that clock, the hands of the clock, they show each hand is a family member, and the clock dial shows where that family member is at work, commuting, in grave peril, right, and stuff like that. And so there's been projects. Somebody with Home Assistant built a physical clock like that. In peril is when the battery of the phone is very low, and all of the other positions are, the gym, the home, at work, etc. And so you can do almost anything with the right set of tools, and the right set of tools are definitely available today. They're not as easy to set up, but they're definitely there. So
give it time.
Oh yeah. The amount, let's put it this way, when we walk in today into Lowe's, right, a huge store, the section that deals with home automation really looks like a do-it-yourself section right now, right? It's a lot of components that you're not really sure how you're going to interconnect them or what's the benefit of doing that.
How long ago was it that they dumped Iris? They had their
Yes,
own
that was a good
controller.
move. That was a very good move.
Yes, the Iris product was terrible. I know people that used it and were very upset when they announced that they were dumping it. But yeah.
I can get that. I mean, you get a ecosystem that you backed being dropped. It's a bummer. But if it wasn't good to start with, right, then it's better. They're better off switching to something else.
It's because of corporate people making a decision based not on technology, but on what they think is going to be the market, and reading it really wrong. But
it's like hardware companies trying to be software companies and not doing the transition well, right? It's like anything else.
I lived that experience.
Spence, are you ready for specials?
Yeah, I got it open here.
And Gal, see about turning on some light in front of you.
It's right in front of me, so
but
I know it's getting darker. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
I'll try.
Spence.
What to end the discussion on this whole subject it was interesting. Over 10 years ago, I was on the advisory board of a company as a technology advisor for a asset retention and tracking company for hospitals. And it was going to be very interesting because it was going to use 900 megahertz and use the power line system in the hospital as the infrastructure. There's going to be a way to track where devices were, crash carts, whatever it is, whatever valuable assets there were. You put one of these little, it was a powered tag. You put it on the device, and you would, as it moved through the hospital, you'd be able to track it. Each room would have an outlet and a special faceplate that was actually the transceiver. And I worked on that project for, over a year and a half. It was very, very interesting. But it's still, I think it's still a thing. The company got sold to another company. That's when everything for me stopped. But it was addressing an issue very specifically to hospitals because of all the RF issues they have that they can't expand. But this is a fascinating space. I'd love to be back in it again, but I just don't have the patience. All right, specials. Well, today, Computers 2 can have specials for September 13th is like the last 6 months never happened. Right? We're back to the old format. It's unicorns and puppies, right? Everything is great. Nothing's going on in the world. That's a problem. And we're going to use the same format that we have learned to like and not like over the years. And I'm not saying it's going to stay this way, but I thought, wouldn't it be fun to go back and see if I can actually do a specials using the old format and actually find the things that I needed? Because for a while, Best Buy and other, they didn't have a weekly ad. They didn't have, their organization was really strange. And Best Buy is the only one that still doesn't have a weekly ad. Staples and Office Depot are back now to having their weekly ad. It's not filled with as much stuff as it used to have, but it's there. So, I did. Wait a minute. Did I put the date? What did I put? I put September 13th and I put September 30th. Sorry, on the actual pages. Now, that's my mistake. I cut and pasted it wrong. Sorry.
You see, Gal, it's not just your.
It's the future. That's it. What was the date you were saying before, Gal?
October 31st.
Oh, wow. So, all right. So it's out there. I didn't do it. It was changed by the system. Right.
By the way, do you remember Back to the Future?
Yes.
When the second one, when they're going forward, and he says the words 2020, never go there.
That's right. Wow. If you have you watched the documentary?
Let's go with the specials.
Okay, but it's good. If you're a fan of
I'll check it out.
Back to the Future, there's a great I forget if it's Netflix or Amazon, but it's a great documentary. Some of the people aren't around anymore. It's a couple years old, but it's really good about the making of the series. Okay, so laptops we have at Best Buy. We've got an Asus Vivobook 15.6-inch Ryzen 5, 512 SSD, and 8 gig of memory for $599. Now, in today's world, with the shortages and things that are going on, this is actually a pretty good deal. Ryzen 5 is a respectable processor. So the supply chain is getting better. I didn't see as many out of stocks like I'd been seeing. Office Depot has an Asus. This is not the same. This is a Ryzen 3. This is a really good deal. This is a Ryzen 3 Vivobook, 15.6 Ryzen for $299. It's $150 off. As to buy a laptop for a kid's classroom experience, this is a good deal if it sticks around. So, and finally, at Staples, Lenovo Flex 5 i5 laptop. This is a convertible laptop tablet touchscreen for $549, which is $180 off the regular price. Desktops. Best Buy has an HP desktop AMD Ryzen 5. Hang on, no, it's Ryzen 3. Hold on a second. I got to zoom in a little bit. The resolution on the pages I was copying from with my
it's a 3
was so low that the actual visuals were not. I'm zoomed in as far as I can go. No, there we go. That's better. Okay, Ryzen 3, 8 gig, 256 solid state for $409, which is 50 off. Office Depot has Lenovo Idea Center 340 i3 with a 23-inch touchscreen for $579, which is $150 off. And Staples has a slim desktop i3 HP. I didn't get the details on it. It's probably 8 gig of memory, but for $379, which is $100 off. So sales are happening again. Tablets. Best Buy has $50 off the iPad Mini, latest model, 64 gig, which is pretty good for 60. Can you still buy 32 gig in an iPad, I wonder? I don't know. Maybe you can. The latest one, I bought the 10-inch one recently, and it was 64. I don't know if you can get 32 anymore. $349, 50 off. Office Depot has a Hyundai Coral. I know nothing about this tablet except that it's inexpensive. 7-inch screen, 16 gig of storage. Yeah, it's an entry-level tablet, depending on what you're using it for. $39, $20 off the regular price.
Four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive, that's right. Yes. And but the interesting thing here is you can get an Amazon Fire 7 is going to cost you $69, and that's going to be a forked lockdown operating system. Whereas the Hyundai Coral is going to be Android 9 and hopefully not lockdown, not a fork that doesn't support the store. So we'll see. But 39 there, 20 off, and the Amazon Fire 7-inch tablet, 32 gig is $69 at Staples. Okay, networking. Couple of choices out there in the inexpensive range for updating your wireless network if you haven't done so. Linksys AC1750 router for $99, which is $30 off at Best Buy. The TP-Link C7, Archer C7, AC, doesn't tell you what the speed is. It's up there. It's in the like 15 to 1700 range, something like that. $69.99, save 10. I have two of these. I have a version 2 and a version 7. I love it. They're great routers. Had good experiences, although the version 2 operating system and menu I think is better because it has more options it's much more granular. The version 7 has limited a lot of the configuration things unless you really know how to get into the advanced screens, which are hard, not terrible to find, but it's not easy to get to. It's a really easy setup either way. You can pick both ways, have a wizard to set up the network. These are the ones I set up with the same SSID, different channels that are working fine now. And finally, Netgear, dual band wireless router, 100 and plus NAS ports. All of these, I believe, have NAS ports to plug in a USB device to share on the network. This is at Staples for $89.99. Storage, a 5 terabyte external portable USB from Western Digital for $104.99 at Best Buy. Save $75. That is a very good price for a portable drive. 5 terabytes. Office Depot has a Samsung 860 EVO 1 terabyte solid state drive, 2.5-inch format for $129, which is 40 off. And Seagate 10 terabyte backup plus desktop drive, $189, save $85. I have the 8 terabyte version of this. That's part of my NAS that I'm running off an old Western Digital wireless router. I turned off all the features except for the NAS support for the USB, and that's my network drive now. A little slower than what I was used to, but it works fine for what I'm doing. Okay, accessories. Best Buy has a Logitech K70 wireless keyboard. This does not have a mouse. It's only $19, $10 off. If you have another mouse choice that you really like, and I'll get to that in a minute. On my desktop, I have a Logitech, my work desktop, I have a Logitech keyboard mouse combo. I never use the mouse anymore. I bought one of those ergonomic mice that lets your hand be horizontal or vertical instead of horizontal for carpal tunnel. And I don't know if it's with carpal tunnel I have some type of problem with my right arm going numb when I'm working with a mouse. It really does help. So that's something we'll talk about later. I have one of them in another section. But this inexpensive keyboard for just $19.95 from Logitech. That's at Best Buy. Office Depot, we have an APC 650 VA, which translates to 350 watts, battery backup, UPS for $64.99. There's 15 off. And Staples has Apple AirPods second generation for $129, which is $30 off the regular price. I'm not sure. I think that sale's pretty much out there. Apple usually puts it out to all of their vendors. They don't just have exclusive sales. Okay, monitors, multimedia. Monitors, inexpensive monitors have really been hard to find just because of all the coronavirus working from home. But it's getting better again. Best Buy has an Acer 23.6-inch monitor for $129, and that's not a sale, but that's still a pretty good price. Office Depot has a J5 Create, which I found to be some pretty good accessories. HD webcam 360, they call it. And it's modeled after the same as the Logitech 727X series.
There's just so many designs that you can.
There are, but this, I don't remember the name we picked when I helped my daughter Emily set up her dance studio, but we picked one we found on Amazon, bought one, and tested it
Mhm.
to see how it worked, and decided it worked so well that got 8 of them, and it's working fine. And I think they were $49 each.
Nice. Yep.
But J Create USB, J5 Create, good company, $59 at Office Depot for a 1080p webcam. And then finally, with Staples, we've got an HP 31.5-inch LED monitor for $179, which is $50 off the regular price. I have to say, today on printers, I went to the 3 different sites. There was not a single Brother printer available. Now, maybe you could find one, but none of them were on sale. Nothing. I was amazed. Usually Brother is a really big part of all the sales every week. Nothing available. I was astounded.
Yeah, the stores are trying to get rid of what they have in stock.
Well, yeah, because I think the Brothers are all gone. I
Yeah.
mean, just
Maybe.
they're, who knows? But I didn't find anything. But we do have at Best Buy an HP DeskJet 4155 all-in-one for $99. Office Depot has an HP LaserJet Pro monochrome laser printer for $149, save $120. That's a good deal. And then finally, Epson ES 500WR wireless Duplex receipt scanner. Now, this is a little on the expensive side, but this is the kind that accountants use. And Fujiscan, I think, was the first one to get into this market with this form factor. Very good with the sheet feed. And the fact that the reason they call it a receipt printer is that it's smart enough to recognize it'll scan multiple size sheets at the same time within reason. I mean, if you're putting in receipts, I'm not sure how it will interact with 8.5 by 11. But the point is, it will take a receipt and will crop the receipt scan down to the actual image size and not include the rest of the page, which was a problem with non-receipt compatible printers. So it's $369, which is $130 off the regular price. Home automation and security. My son, Aaron, installed in his house Blink security cameras and was showing me how he could set it up, and you could set the camera up to do time-lapse photography. It's a battery-powered system, and but you can configure it so that it's motion capture or motion recognition and so on, typically. But if you wanted to have, say, I would like to have my yard do, 1 frame per second, or 1 frame every 5 seconds, or whatever you wanted to do, surveillance, and save it as a file, you could do that. And it's very small, battery-powered, uses the little Blink controller. And this is a 3-camera system, indoor, and it's indoor-outdoor. Indoor-outdoor surveillance system for $189, which is $60 off. And I looked at this thing. I'm really impressed at the quality of it. Who owns the Blink? I can't remember.
It's Amazon.
It is Amazon.
I just got one of these and set it up as well. I'll talk about it after you're done.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, are you impressed with it?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, really nice device.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at Best Buy. Office Depot has a Netgear Auto wireless security system with 3 cameras, $279, which is $70 off. And Staples has a single Casa Spot indoor Wi-Fi security camera for $49. Casa is also another nice brand. I think it's TP-Link, isn't this Casa is their brand?
Yep.
Yeah, so good stuff. But wait, there's more. Amnon, this is for you. $26.39 at Office Depot for a Cobra magnetic mount CB antenna. You going to put one on the truck?
Sure.
I still have my CB radios up in the attic.
I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Amnons are still hooked up. Not even kidding.
I wish I had a single sideband one, though. That would be fun to
Yep.
actually use. I don't have one. Interesting. This is another very interesting. Nick, you need to go. This should be your specialty, is extending Ethernet networks over 10100 Ethernet extender kit, single wire pair, 1 kilometer.
Jesus.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's very, very practical too, isn't it?
Yes, very practical. There's a 2 pair of wire going everywhere in the world, from everywhere. It's easy to get to. But think about it. If you had, under certain circumstances, this could be really useful.
Yeah. Big plans. And,
I knew a guy that had a house, and he had a garage. He had a home business that he ran out of a garage, but it was like 100 yards away from his house. But he had a phone line going out there.
Yeah.
Something like this would be really useful. And what we wound up doing was putting in a wireless extender, which worked okay. It wasn't real fast. This is a long time ago, but it worked. It got him internet out of his barn just for casual use. So it wasn't very, again, it wasn't very fast. But, so this is $370. So Amnon will buy 2 and we'll test it between your house and my house.
Yeah.
See if it works. We got to have
We
the
need to
phone
buy
company tell us.
We need to buy about 20 of them, though.
Well, yeah. Well, let's see. You're about what? You're about 7 or 8 miles away. So that's about probably 10 or 12 kilometers. Yeah, we're gonna need a few of them.
Next.
Wonder what that signal would be like if you.
We're gonna need a bigger wire.
That's it. All right. For those of you where money is no object, Best Buy has the DJI Mavic Air 2 drone fly combo. Comes with shots. Got a bunch of, what was it, 4 propellers? So it's 1, 2, or maybe it's 6 propellers. Maybe it's 2 sets of spare propellers.
But where's the
charging
drone
kit,
itself?
3 batteries. No, this is just a kit. It is the drone. just a kit.
The one in the middle, right?
The drone is right there in the center, just to the right of the case. It just doesn't show anything connected to it. The little arms are not out and the propellers are not attached because it breaks down into a small pack and you assemble it when you want to use it. So, yeah, the Mavic stuff was what revolutionized inexpensive video for video production and other things. But they were the first ones that came out with a really high quality, usable product that could be just hit the market at the right. Now the prices go through the roof. My niece's husband in Atlanta works for, don't remember who it was, some state agency where they have drones. And one of their drones just lost its mind one day and decided it was just going to go fly straight across the border into West Virginia, 300 miles away. And it was stolen somehow. Somebody hacked the signal and flew it. It was a $5,000 or $6,000 drone. And I said, well, how could it go that far? How as good as the battery? She said, the battery, it could fly for 12 hours on a charge.
What?
That was incredible. Yes. I said, how? He said, yeah, that's how it works. But it flew until the battery died and it just cratered itself into the ground. And somebody found it on a farm. And on it was a tag for the state agency that he worked for. And they finally got it back. Wow. After it was missing for months, they didn't know where it went. But they figured out based on they recovered it and they used the onboard information that was still held in memory to find out that it got taken over, at what point it happened. It set an altitude and a heading and just went until the battery died. Very interesting.
All right.
Okay.
So
and finally, I mentioned this earlier about these ergonomic mice, MX Master 3 wireless mounts. And this is not the one that turns your hand vertical instead of horizontal, but this is designed for a more ergonomic feel for your hand that can really help. It's $99, Logitech MX Master 3 wireless mouse at Best Buy. And that's it for today's special, September 13th, 2020.
Why, thank you.
So, does it feel good to be back to normal? Everything, none of the stuff we worried about for the last 6 months is relevant anymore.
Okay.
Well, no, that was true 2 minutes ago, but not anymore.
Nick.
Yeah.
You were going to talk about the cameras.
Oh yeah, I've been very happy with them. The it's not an issue, but because they are battery operated, they are not all time. They do not run all the time. They run with motion detection. You probably can set it to run all the time. I'm not sure. I've got mine all set to motion detect, and that works fine. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah. Other than that, they're fine.
I would think that if you set them up to take a shot every second, That's almost as good as live video, sort of. But then
yeah,
you
but
have
the problem
to
is
run.
the cameras will be dead every 3 months.
Yeah, but you have
yeah.
to run power to it. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, which you can run power to it, by the way. It does have a micro USB. You don't have to use battery power. But if you're going to run a power cord to it,
Yeah,
you're
then-
probably better
right.
off getting a different system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my
No, but I mean, if you want
opinion.
that system and you're happy with it, and you have a camera that is like yours, one of them is right there attached to the house. It's no big deal to run power to it. It's short distance. You can always find an outlet inside the house that's real close, and maybe, I don't know, 10 feet. You will have power. So yeah, it's not for that, but you could do it. And Nick, you were going to talk about something else. You asked me to remind you.
Yeah, what did I ask you to remind me about?
Cyberpower.
Oh, yeah. I bought I got a couple Cyberpower UPSs. I'm in the process of writing an article on it. They make a really cool so obviously if you've ever plugged in and when I say UPS, we're talking about a battery backup. All of them, APC, whatever, they all have apps for Windows.
Right.
And Cyberpower makes a Linux app, a CLI based app, command line app that works very, very well. And I spent a good chunk this week. I have to reconfigure it now because my environment changed. But I spent a couple of probably about 2 days this week tweaking that and configuring it to send me an email when the power goes out using Linux, which is nice because that's where my
But they do
That's right.
have the app for Windows also. This is added.
correct, but I don't use the app on Windows because I
Yeah.
don't really care about it on Windows. My Windows computer isn't always on. So but I was impressed to see a company like Cyberpower. They must have some engineers that they're allowing to run with this because it's a well-maintained, well-documented project on Linux. It works pretty flawlessly. I went in and then developed my own little script for sending me an email the way I wanted it to. But it was impressive to see the Linux support. I'm sure APC's got it as well. But I just haven't. I'm not a big fan of APC UPSs. So
APC, I think I remember we were using APC for the servers when we were at the data center here, but we had to load. Oh, that's right. It was just a program that you load into Linux to read it,
Yeah.
to talk to it.
and I was just the cyber, and I'm looking at it. They do have an APC UPS software. I've never used it. I was just pretty impressed with the Cyberpower.
Cyberpower is a
software.
very good UPS.
Yeah, I got them for a pretty good price. I bought them at. Let me see if I can look at my email and see how much I
I
paid
still
for
have
them.
a 2000 model.
We were
That I
milking
bought.
that warranty for everything it was worth at one point.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
'cause
I've
it was
got
a
this
lifetime
one-
warranty. They kept replacing it.
I've got it for what now, 15 years or so. I mean, really long time. I don't use the internal batteries anymore. I connect it to an external battery, and it works. It still works. I think I had it replaced twice.
I got Cyberpower 950s.
Yeah,
Which
fine.
are
about 700.
700 or something.
Yeah.
And it's nice because I've got two of them. I have one for my setup here, and then I've got one in my little closet back here that keeps my modem router, my Blink hub, and my now my one server online in the case of a power failure, which is nice.
I
Talk
think that you should be sufficiently shamed by Gavin Newsom's statement that he made about global warming that you need to fill your garage, Nick, with those UPSs and put
Yeah.
solar panels on your roof and cut the cord.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to because they're not maintaining their grid, so you have no choice but to do that.
Nick, whatever happened to the UPS that got messed up in the apartment. Remember?
I threw it away.
No.
I didn't want to. It was easier for me to just buy a new one and not deal with it anymore. I had bad power in that apartment. It blew up 2 UPSs on me.
Did you ever
Yeah.
get checked? Were you able to analyze it and figure out what was going on, or?
Amnon and I looked at one of them. They have a warranty, but they cost so damn much to ship. It wasn't worth shipping. It would have cost me $40 to ship a $90 UPS, and then it wasn't worth the headache. Which I know is not wasn't the most cost effective thing to do, no, but it was just at a certain point you just don't want to deal with it, and that's kind of where I was at. So I got these Cyberpowers. I bought them the day of the hurricane for like $80 a piece at Best Buy.
Yeah, they're good. I don't know what their warranty is these days, but yeah, like
A couple
Spence said,
years,
it used to
maybe
be
3 years, something like that.
They used to be lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's got.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's a good. It doesn't matter. It's a good UPS. It's fine, and nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the warranty is only worth so much.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are it's a battery, and that's covered by warranty anyway.
Yeah, and the batteries are so cheap
Yeah.
for these things. You can go to like you guys have like Batteries Plus up there.
Yeah.
You can go to Batteries Plus and get UPS batteries for $15-$20.
So you're not going to buy
They're
it from
expensive.
buy Amazon Basics battery?
I use their AA and AAAs. Those are fine.
Did you see? There was a story I just saw this morning about Amazon Basics. There's apparently several lawsuits against them now because of some products being dangerous, like power strips that catch fire. And there was a study done, and they said that their Amazon's tactic, as they normally do, react to this. There's no problem. So go someplace else. There's no problem here. And they're showing lots and lots of people having issues. I have some Amazon Basic stuff, but I don't rely on them for power stuff.
I use all their batteries, the AAA, AA, C, D.
Yep.
They're fine. Still,
watch
knock on wood, no problem.
Project Farm is the name of a YouTube channel that does a lot of great studies on things. He does his own testing, and he's not connected to anybody. It's all self-funded, but he tested batteries from maybe 15 different sources, and he has a very specific testing procedure he uses. He took everything from Harbor Freight to the best Duracells and all that, and he just tests them across the board. He did it for AA's. I think he did it for 9-volt too, but he just has really comprehensive tests. And it's kind of fun to watch, although he talks too fast.
I guess Amazon changed their source because they don't make the batteries. They used to be white. Now they are kind of brownish.
No, they've just been sitting outside too long.
Yeah. All right, let's switch here. And this is kind of interesting, especially for our area here. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has issued a sweeping decision concluding that IBM engaged in systematic age discrimination between 2013 and 18 when it shed thousands of older workers in the United States. So, I mean, people always said that, as you're getting old, I guess something about the pension.
Because your pension accrued at a much higher rate in your last 3 years of working there.
Who is this that was firing people?
IBM.
This is not a new thing. Yeah. It wasn't from 2013. It goes way back.
Yeah, it does. But the decision here was made.
Yeah,
that they did
based on that way off. Yeah, because they would basically, you'd have 26 years with the company and you're gone, and your benefits, your pension benefits greatly accrued in those last 3 years, so that you were gone before that happened. I know many people that happened to.
And another interesting thing about Firefox, Mozilla will add a new security feature to Firefox in October that will make it harder for malicious web pages to initiate automatic downloads and plant malware-laced files on a user's computer. It's called a drive-by download. This type of attack has been around for 2 decades, and usually takes place when users visit a website that contains malicious code placed there by an attacker. So the role of the malicious code is to abuse legitimate features, blah, blah, blah. There are multiple forms of drive-by shooters. Drive-by shooters.
You're about
Drive-by
shooters. What are you
downloads,
in? What are you in,
depending.
Chicago?
A what?
So what are you in Chicago? L.A.?
Depending
New
on
York?
browser feature. So Firefox browsers like Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorers have, across the years, gradually deployed various forms of protection against automatic drive-by downloads. But 100% protection can't be fully achieved because browsers makers can't fully block legitimate websites. So it's it's kind of, it's a good thing that they're going to do it, but you can't depend on it. The only way you can be safe is to not go to sites. Easier said than done, right? You still go to legitimate sites and get something that you downloaded something malicious. And I found out that in most cases, the file that you download, that you are made to download or that downloads automatically, does not go to work right away as is installed. I mean, it may have effects, but it doesn't go to work right away. So emptying your cache many times gets rid of it. Running CCleaner to clean the drive, temporary files, will get rid of it. And many people that have situation where you open a bunch, suddenly your browser opens tab after tab after tab after tab don't panic. But if you run CCleaner and clean the drive, it will stop. Of course, if you leave it there, then it could dig itself in. But it's not the end of the world. And now,
That's good.
Another interesting fact. On Wednesday, Acer and Walmart announced they were reviving the Gateway brand to sell affordable Windows 10 notebooks and laptops convertibles from $179 and up.
Let me guess, they're partnering with Chick-fil-A.
That's great. That's good branding.
Gateway was once a major PC vendor in the US, especially during the 90s, when it famously sold computers packaged in cow-spotted boxes. However, the company fortunes began to falter in the 2000s, resulting in Taiwanese PC vendor Acer later buying it up. So that's very interesting.
I have a quick spot poll. What's better, Acer or Asus?
Asus.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Asus is more of a high-end brand.
But you're not very gun-ho on Asus. You had a problem with your laptop. Remember the battery or something?
I've got an
Oh,
Asus
no,
laptop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have an Asus. I really like Asus. I bought an Asus. I have an Asus motherboard, I think.
You bought it
yeah,
back
I
when you
have
were in
I have several
school.
Asus motherboards.
I still have that computer, and yeah, it's still. I mean, it's still.
Oh,
It's just this
okay.
one brand laptop. It pisses me. Yeah, it pisses me off. But what are you gonna do?
No,
It was an expensive but a low end laptop for what it was. So yeah, it's fine.
I still have an old Acer netbook
Oh,
that I
Jesus.
loaded Linux on that works great. I mean, it's a small machine. It's great if you're going to take it to a lab or something, or go run some diagnostics. You just need a machine to poke around with. Still works good. But I traveled with it for years, and I used a Verizon 3G USB card to then use it as a remote machine. It works. Still works. Whenever I turn it on, it still works.
Now, we were talking about drones earlier. Spence was. I don't have any experience with drones, but I think I know that they can't carry a lot of weight. So Walmart said Wednesday it would run a pilot project for delivery of grocery and household products through automated drones, along with end-to-end delivery firm Flytrex. As the U.S. retailer looks to beef up its delivery business. It's going to be done in Fayetteville. What did I read that?
You know what?
Yeah,
That's
Fayetteville,
kinda
North
like,
Carolina.
that's like flying cars, right? They've been talking about it forever.
But
the
the thing
technology
is,
is finally there, but it's not safe. You can't.
but I mean, how much weight can a drone? I mean, a
Oh,
drone.
it can carry 50 pounds, depending on the drone. Yeah.
Depending on the drone. Now, if you're gonna buy $10,000 drones to do it with, you probably could, but I kind of doubt they're going to do that.
I don't want a drone flying over my house with a 30-pound frozen ham.
Right. That's
that suddenly
thing.
breaks loose and drops and kills me on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be quite a story, though.
That'd be a story, all right. Yep. It would
Man
depend on
killed
what,
by ham.
what fell. It depends on what. It could be something even more interesting that falls from the drone. Who knows what they'll sell?
Oh, yeah.
So
I like that. Man killed by ham. It's news at 11.
All right, we're coming to the end of the show, so I want some of you to comment about this. Newly released DOJ records show that multiple top members of Mueller's investigative team claim to have accidentally wiped at least 15 phones used during the anti-Trump investigation.
Accidentally.
After the DOJ asked for the devices to be handed over.
And this was different people.
This
was not like the same person handling it accidentally. Right. Each person individually
accidentally. Yeah. Isn't that something?
I heard an analysis of this, and they thought that because these guys are all lawyers, that they think that even though that's not very plausible, that they think that legally from a defense perspective, they can fall back on that. And it doesn't matter that to the public, it sounds ridiculous. From a legal sense, each one of them individually can probably get away with it.
Well, but the point here is that accidentally wipe 15 phones, 15 different people, accidentally.
Yeah. All tried to enter the password.
What are
10
the
times
chances?
by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this just blew my mind when I read this, and I said, "What?"
This is how stupid they think we are. Oh, one last final story about frozen meat.
Uh-oh.
Just a quick anecdote. At one point, the U.S. Air Force has a cannon that fires, like they use chickens and turkeys and things. They fire it at the canopies, the windshields of planes to test how they work, right? To make sure that they can withstand a bird strike. It's literally like a compressed air cannon that fires this stuff.
Right.
They loaned it to the British, who were developing something to test these windshields. And every single time they fired this, you know the story, Nick?
No, I'm just no.
Every time they fired this thing, it broke the windshield. Every time they said, "We don't understand. Different sizes
I know this
matter."
one. Yeah.
So they came back to the Americans and said, "What are we doing wrong?" And they had one line in the email return. It said, "Defrost the chickens first."
Yeah, I remember that. There's a I'll mention it anyway. There's a fantastic book called Stiff, the exciting life of cadavers. It's about this. It's this research journalist. She goes into what happens after we die. What does it mean to donate your body to science? How does a body decompose? It's a fascinating read, and there's some anecdotes about stories like that. With like there are cadavers that are used for crash testing, right? Something that a test crash dummy cannot provide, and so there's there's descriptions about what goes on in these testings and stuff. And so,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers by Mary Roach.
Yeah. Fantastic book.
Funny.
Yeah. And if you want to make money, easy, apparently. Facebook is offering users money to refrain from using the site and Instagram in the weeks leading to the bitterly contested November election.
Wow, I'm rich.
To assess the impact of social media on voting, the company will pay selected members up to $120 to deactivate their accounts beginning at the end of September.
Let me guess. There may be a political slant that they're looking for.
Anyone who chooses to opt in, whether it's completing surveys or deactivating Facebook or Instagram for a period of time, will be compensated. And the spokesman said this is fairly standard for this type of academic research. The Silicon Valley giant said it expects 200,000 to 400,000 people to take part.
I would say that this is a form of electioneering. It's just like you setting up your banners at a polling site and you intrude on the space to do whatever you're doing. I mean, this is just a way to get around making it sound like it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And when in reality, it's like you're choose. Now, if you have to volunteer for this thing, now if they force people to do it, then it's against the law.
No. It's you have to opt
volunteer.
in.
It sounds like a volunteer.
Yeah.
It's an interesting test. I mean, I don't know what they'll get out of it, right? But
they're not going to choose me because I don't post anything on Facebook. It's anywhere controversial. So they're not going to pick me, so I can't make any money.
Yeah, but still.
They're probably worried about their bandwidth getting clobbered. So they're trying to minimize.
No, they're worried about people reading information that they don't like.
They
probably can't.
I don't think they'll be able to subdue any messages, but I do think that it's all about who they approach, right? And if they get the sampling to be meaningful enough, I don't know if it'll matter. They're talking about 200,000?
200 to 400,000 that they estimate. I don't know how you can estimate that, but
that's nothing for based on Facebook.
Yeah, but Facebook is global, right? So I'm guessing because they're talking about the election, they're focused on US-based users.
Yeah, but how many bots are based outside the country?
But that's the thing. A bot would not be able to accept such an offer.
Bots they need to be able to make money too.
Bot lives matter.
That's BLM. Yep.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. But it's interesting that they're even thinking about doing something like that.
And these are only the things they're saying out in the open. I mean, what was the thing that Nick, that Facebook's Zuckerberg said this past week about we're going to restrict the flow of misinformation. No new campaign ads the last 2 weeks, and we'll determine what is a bad ad.
Yeah,
trust us, we're here to help.
Anyhow, anything else anybody has to wants to add here?
No, sir.
Don't poke yourself in the eye.
Don't poke. Yep. All right.
Like that guy I was telling you about, I'm drinking the tea. Went to the doctor, says my eye hurts. He said,
Yeah.
well, tell me about it. He says, every time I sip tea, my eye hurts. And he said, well, show me. And he left the spoon in there, and every time he drank the tea, it poked him in the eye.
So one thing that's going to happen this week, that's the last thing I'm going to get into. Apple just announced a digital-only event on September 15th, where it's expected to reveal its newest iPhones. Apple typically unveils its new iPhones during an event at its headquarters in Cupertino, but this year it's online only. It's possible Apple also announces the Apple Watch Series 6, a refresh to its iPad Air, and other products at the event. It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Apple didn't provide any additional details, but will likely stream it online. Well, I'm sure they will.
Is it going to be a virtual phone? Seriously, I mean, it's going
to be a virtual phone. Yeah,
it's a virtual phone. It doesn't really exist. It's just a virtual phone.
They're
have a lot of good features on a virtual
They're
phone.
expected to announce 4 new iPhones this year.
Awesome.
Including 2 regular iPhone 12 models and 2 iPhone 12 Pro models, with new designs that include sharper edges around the corner. So now they're not going to get sued. For reference, the new design will be similar to 2010 iPhone 4, according to TF International Security Analyst. Screen sizes include a 5.4-inch model, 2 with 6.1-inch screens, and a big model with 6.7-inch display. And Apple won't include headphones or a charger in the box. But, yep, they got to put it out so people will buy it.
The iPhone SE was probably the best deal out there.
Price-wise, yeah. I'm wondering how it's working.
It was a great, we got Pam needed a new one. She had a 5S.
Yeah.
And it was just getting really slow.
So she got
the SE, and it's almost indistinguishable from my 7.
But how's it working?
It's great. It's got the latest processor, A13 processor. It's great.
So no problems.
When mine was replaced because of the bad battery, had a swollen battery, and I might try to replace my battery myself eventually, but when I do that, I'm going to take my current iPhone 7 out of service, and I'm going to buy whatever is the the SE version at the time, the lower cost phone, because it works great. And I have no need to have 3 cameras and 3 lenses and all that whole thing. So facial recognition, I don't need that.
All right.
Are you to decide you do not need that? Come on, man. You need Facebook to decide for you.
I'm sure if I played with it and did some really awesome photography with it and had it probably would make sense. I'm just afraid that somebody will steal it and cut my head off so they can get access to the phone. Hold it up every time they want to make a call.
I'm in the market for a new phone, so be interesting to see what they come up with.
So would you tend to go high end?
In the past I would have. Now that
over $1,000, yeah, that's a lot.
Now that I have some higher bills than I used to, and don't quite have as much money in the bank I don't have any money in the bank like I used to.
Life smacks you right between the eyes.
Yeah. So in the past, yes, I have the 8 Plus or 8. I don't know what I have. It was like $1,200. I bought it outright. I mean, here, I've got a, hold on one second. I've got a,
that's interesting.
I do. I have an 8 Plus. When did the iPhone 8 Plus come out?
3 years ago.
The iPhone 8 Plus came out in Give me 1 second here. iPhone 8 Plus has been out since 2017.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
I would say
Yeah.
4 years ago. I mean, realistic,
Well, real,
almost
yeah, yeah.
November in the US. No, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, October 2017. So almost 4 years. I mean, if you look at $1,200 over 4 years, it's kind of a steal. I'll always say that. I mean, I know phones are expensive, but at least for the amount that I use it, it's kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, you're Spence. I'd probably go with the higher end phone just because I'll probably get 4+ years out of it.
I will definitely retire my phone to backup and just use as a tablet. Turn off put it in airplane mode and just turn the Wi-Fi on. So I turn all that crap off and
I've got some
I'll
older
replace the
phones.
battery.
And I always say I'm going to do that, and I never do. I don't know why.
I have my old 5S I use as a, for streaming music and podcasts and I replaced the battery in it myself, and it actually fixed the problem because it was just wouldn't charge. And I'll do the same with the 7. Now that I'm not so intimidated by the whole using the hair dryer to separate the phone to melt the glue that holds the battery in place. It's kind of funky, but if it's not my main phone, I'll be much more willing to try it.
Nick, with
Yes,
all
sir.
your old phones, especially if you're going to install Home Assistant,
Yep.
you can just make them as home automation controllers.
Yeah.
I could do
Spread
that.
them around the home, even mount them on a wall connected to a charger, and that can be a smart panel in every room.
Okay.
Good idea.
True.
And you install Zillow on it, and it's also an in-house intercom.
I don't need an in-house intercom.
You don't need that now. I know you don't.
Well, I've
need
got
that now,
my
but-
I've got my Echo devices. I could use those for an intercom.
right. Yeah, with Echo today, it's a lot easier. Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
need to talk to yourself, right?
Well, I mean, I do that anyway. But
Are you fast enough that you can leave? You can say something and then run into the next room and hear it.
Can I set a long enough buffer? 8-second buffer.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right.
That would make a good video blog, is trying to show people doing stuff like that just for fun.
Do it. But do it.
You see, that's why you need an iPhone with a 3 camera, just
That's
to vlog like that. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, the stream was messing up. I agree, but that's why there are multiple links at the bottom, and Facebook always works because it comes. I changed the beginning of the week from Restream.io to Caster.io, and I just when it was, and I noticed that the stream was just buffering, and I went there and it was still connected to everything. So I don't know if it was their connection to YouTube or whatever. But yeah, so everything goes through Caster.io except Facebook. Facebook goes a completely different route. So if you see that the stream is messing up, if you click on channel 4 under the video, the FB Facebook, then everything should still be working, unless actually this one goes out through Spectrum. Caster.io goes out through Uverse. So yeah, that's a good kind of guarantee. Anyway, we done? We're done. All right. Spence, people can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, and if you
Oh,
go,
my nod. Well, my neck doesn't squeak, so you can't hear it.
all right. So thanks, Spence, Gal, Nick. It was a good morning and good show. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Arlette and Micha also. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And tonight at 7, Nick is broadcasting his Against the Norm show at atnshow.com. And if you're in Wilmington, you can listen to it at 106.7 FM. That's Wilmington's Big Talker. All right. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.